I helped my elderly neighbor for years, groceries, yard work, hospital runs. Then one day I found a fence cutting through my kitchen window. We adjusted the boundary. "You don't own this anymore," her son said. What I did next put a full stop to their plans. I live in a small town in Illinois, about an hour outside Peoria. It's not much, a 3-bedroom ranch I've been fixing up myself for the last 12 years. Quiet neighborhood, mostly older folks. I moved here after my divorce. Needed the quiet. Needed to rebuild. Next door was Mrs. Green. She was 86 when I moved in, but sharp as a tack and always outside, pruning her rose bushes or feeding the birds. We hit it off from the start. She reminded me of my grandmother. We used to talk over the fence most mornings. She'd wave to me when I left for work. I'd stop by after dinner to help her open jars or figure out her thermostat. Over time, helping her just became part of my routine. When her knees gave out, I started doing her grocery runs. When the city got hit with a snowstorm, I shoveled both our driveways. I trimmed her trees, cleaned her gutters, even drove her to the hospital when she got pneumonia. She'd always say, "You're a blessing, dear. I don't know what I'd do without you." Her son, Mark, was a different story. He showed up maybe twice a year. Always in a rush, always wearing some techie outfit and sunglasses. Talked like he was doing everyone a favor. Once, I heard him tell her to just sell the house already because it was too much trouble. She told him no, she liked it here. He didn't like me much, I could tell. He never thanked me for helping her. I don't think he liked how close we were. He once saw me bringing her groceries inside and gave me a look like I was trespassing. Anyway, life went on. Then she fell and broke her hip. She asked me to keep an eye on the place while she recovered in rehab. I agreed, of course. I even took in her mail, paid her trash pickup once when the notice came late. When she passed a few months later, I was heartbroken. She didn't have many people left, so I went to her service. Mark didn't say much. He was on his phone most of the time. About 3 weeks after she passed, I heard loud banging one morning. It was around 6:30 a.m. I thought it was construction at first. Then I looked out my kitchen window. There were 3 men in my backyard. One had a post driver. Another had a saw. They were putting up a wooden privacy fence. Not where her yard ended, in the middle of mine. Right through the lilac bush I planted when I first moved in. The fence kept going, and it ran straight through my kitchen window. I threw on a coat and ran outside. "What the hell are you doing?" I yelled. One of the guys looked up and motioned toward Mark. He was standing on the edge of the yard with a clipboard. He didn't look surprised to see me. "We adjusted the boundary," he said, like he was talking about moving a couch. "This portion is ours now." I thought he was joking. "You're building a fence through my house." He handed me a manila folder. Inside was a survey, something from the county assessor's office, and a legal notice. I couldn't make sense of any of it. Mark said, "The deed was incorrect for years. We had a new survey done. Your property ends about 6 feet earlier than you thought. This part, your side yard, your garden, your kitchen wall, it's on our land now." I said, "That's not possible. I've lived here 12 years. I've mowed this lawn, paid taxes." He cut me off. "Doesn't matter. It's a matter of record now. We've already filed it. Fence goes up today." I asked if we could talk. He said, "You can talk to your lawyer. I'm Buse." Then he turned away. I stood there for maybe 5 minutes, just staring. The workers kept building. The saw ripped through the lilac bush. They were treating my yard like a construction site. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I drove to the county clerk's office. I spent 6 hours there. I showed them everything: my deed, my original property map, old photos showing where the fence had always been. They said they'd look into it, but from what they could see, Mark had filed a boundary adjustment with a new survey that placed a portion of my lot inside his mother's original parcel. And because she had passed and he was now executor of the estate, he filed the change without contest. I asked how that was legal. The woman at the counter said, "You'll need to take it to court." So I did. And that was just the beginning. I called a lawyer that same week. Real estate litigation. I didn't have much saved, but I wasn't about to let some guy steal part of my home. We filed an injunction to stop the construction. For a few weeks, everything froze. No more fence posts. No more workers. But Mark wasn't done. A few days after we filed, I got a letter from his attorney. It claimed I'd knowingly encroached on their land. Said I owed back rent for using the space. He even included a dollar amount, $18,300. That was his next move, trying to scare me into backing off. I remember sitting at my kitchen table, staring at that letter while the sun came in crooked through the half-finished fence line. It didn't make sense. That land was always part of my lot. My property tax maps even showed it. But I knew what Mark was counting on. That I wouldn't have the money or time to fight him. That I'd roll over. I didn't. I started pulling every record I could find. Digging through boxes in the garage, calling the town building inspector, even driving to the library to find old aerial photos. And I found something. In 2002, the town redrew some of the lot lines when the road was widened. Everyone got a notice. Mrs. Green signed hers. So did the previous owner of my house. The property lines were moved slightly, but the documents clearly showed that my house, my yard, even a lilac bush, were all well within the corrected boundary. That adjustment never made it to the new survey Mark filed. Whether that was a mistake or on purpose, I'll never know. But my lawyer said it was enough. We took it to court. It dragged for almost a year. Mark showed up twice, always in a suit, always looking bored. I think he thought it was beneath him. I think he thought I'd give up. He didn't expect me to bring in the building inspector who remembered the 2002 change. Or the town planner who found the scanned documents. Or the neighbor across the street who had a photo from a block party that clearly showed the fence line right where it had always been. Mark lost. The judge ordered him to remove the fence and restore the property. He was also fined for building without a permit. And the best part? He had to cover my legal fees. But that's not what ended it. What ended it was what I did next. After the judgment, I thought it would be over. But a month later, I came home and found my back window smashed. Nothing stolen. Just glass everywhere and the curtain flapping in the breeze. I called the police. They took a report, but there were no prints, no camera footage. Just damage. Then it happened again, this time a rock through my windshield. I started getting mail addressed to Mark Green at my address. Random junk, credit card pre-approvals, even a delivery for a sofa I didn't order. It felt deliberate. I called the title company. Somehow, in the chaos of Mark's false boundary filing, he had submitted paperwork listing my address under his mother's estate. It didn't hold up legally, but it was enough to get things confused in smaller databases, mailing lists, delivery services, utilities. I confronted him, drove to his office. He worked in Peoria, in a glass building with a fake plant in every hallway. I walked in, asked for him by name. The receptionist hesitated, then buzzed me through. He didn't even look surprised to see me. "What do you want?" he said, leaning back in his chair. "You're still messing with my property." He smiled. "I'm not doing anything. You won in court, remember? You should be happy. I'll take this to the police if it keeps up. Go ahead. You won't find my name on anything. Just like I didn't find yours on my mother's will." That's when I realized this wasn't about property. Not really. This was about the fact that I'd spent more time with his mother in her final years than he had. That she cared about me. That she probably told him as much. I didn't say another word. I left. But I started digging again. And this time, I found something deeper. I found Mrs. Green's original will. The one from 2016. The one she made before her health really declined. It had been stored with a local attorney who passed away the year before she died. When the practice closed, the files were sent to county records. It took 3 weeks and 2 in-person visits, but I got a copy. In that version of her will, she left me something. A strip of land, 5 feet wide, running the entire length of her yard. The exact strip Mark had tried to claim. That version had never been filed. The one Mark submitted was dated a year later and didn't mention me at all. But the signatures on his copy didn't match. I had them compared by a handwriting expert. It was enough to reopen the case. The court's still sorting it out. There are hearings, filings, expert opinions, all because one man couldn't stand the idea that his mother might have loved someone else more. I still park my car on the far side of the driveway, just in case. And every time I walk past that lilac bush, the one that somehow survived the saw, I wonder what she'd think of all this. I wonder if she knew what her son would do. And sometimes, late at night, I catch myself thinking, maybe I should have just let the fence go. But then again, maybe that's what he was counting on.